and Stacy, and this is their first appearance, and not the last on the Everything Public Talk radio show. They're going to come on when we have more time to actually plan. When they come on our longer form interviews that are Mondays at 12 p.m. Mountain Time, and then of course when I start my show on Brighty on TV, which is
great
Fridays, 7 to 8 p.m. Mountain Time. We are prime time. We are prime time on Fridays.
Yes.
So when we do that, I'm going to have you guys on that platform too. So the more that we get all of these great content providers, right? Quality content providers and platforms out there that more people know about. I mean, the viewership literally for all these different platforms should be in the millions.
Oh, no
because
doubt
it
about
needs
it.
to be, because the tide is changing, but there's still a lot of people on the sidelines. And I'll give you a perfect example, and then I want to just, we can go in whatever direction you want with this interview, right? It doesn't really matter. There's no rules, right?
Yep.
Let's do
We
it.
all have our
Sounds
common sense
great.
caps on, and the rest of it doesn't matter. And the thing is last weekend, I was telling you, we had at this same building, right, this quote-unquote church, and I will use the word loosely based on now what I know in the past 2 weeks about this church. And we talked, I kind of blew the lid on some things when Christy was just sitting here talking. Anyway, we had our mayor corruption, because it's Mayor Corruption County, right, because this is where the land of the audit is, it's mayor corruption.
Oh, yeah.
We had our Maricopa County Board meeting for the elected elites, the rhinos, and the precinct committee man. And there were so many people that are precinct committee man that didn't know about this event, Clay Clark.
Wow.
They didn't know a lot of the speakers, because I'm dropping all this information because most of these people have been on my show a couple times. I've known them. I was in Tulsa, which I don't know how we all missed each other, but that was a long time ago, right?
Yep.
It was all new for
A
people.
lot has changed.
Yeah.
A lot has changed.
The world's changed.
So, yes, the world has changed.
Yeah.
So I could not believe how many people that were even in elected positions, right, that are on in our state Senate and our House that did not know about this event and did not know who Clay Clark was, did not know about a lot of the
Their
speakers.
head would have to be in the sand to not know that.
But I'm just saying there's a lot more people that I thought that are either in maybe the rhino category or just don't know. And then I was like, we're inundated with it, okay? So right, we know because we got into it a long time ago.
Sure.
But my realization last weekend was people that are actually in a capacity of either an elected official or an appointed official as a precinct committee man, they didn't know. So I'm thinking to myself, at least they've taken the step to show up and do something that's more so than an average person.
Sure.
So how many average people don't know? And I'm thinking we've come a long way, but we're, like
you could go back to the
cigarettes. We're not there yet, baby.
Yeah.
You go back to the very top. When you have a Supreme Court justice this past week saying there's 100,000 children in the hospital in New York City, many on a ventilator.
Yeah.
She should have got yanked off the bench
It's
right
like,
then and there.
well, that's.
Either ignorant or nefarious.
I always want to try
I
to.
believe the second.
I want to try and go as far as I can to always attribute something more towards ignorance than malice, if possible.
You're being too kind.
But at a certain point, you got to think at when there's three branches of government and she's at the highest level that you can get, and is quoting crazy numbers, like where.
Push a narrative, but that's what.
Where is she getting them?
But she's like a narrative pushing judge.
But she's allowed to say it out loud. She's got to know there's going to be blowback and
With
accountability.
no accountability, though.
And so it's I got to think that's intentional.
Oh, totally intentional. Yes.
At the highest levels.
I just know it's intentional. I don't give them the benefit of the doubt. I think the problem that we are doing, us conservative side, they couldn't have meant that. The guy said it. The guy said, I'm coming to your house tomorrow to get you. And they were like, well, that's not what he meant. Dude, he's at the door. He told you he was coming. Pull your head out of your arse. Get out of the door. Get out the back door.
Yes.
So we just assume that everybody has good intentions. And I think we're finally starting to realize they don't. And the gloves are off on their side. They have been. We're just finally coming around to that realization. Like, you're already being too kind. That's why you probably married him. Sounds like a really nice guy.
He is a very nice
Well,
guy.
And I'll be like, oh, hell no. These guys are evil. These are satanic people.
When you look at the
They hate you and me.
at the repackaging of saving like a Don Lemon on CNN,
Don Lemon.
Yes,
You mean Don Lemon?
we're in the hotel. He used to catch a minute, but he was just do commentary on Biden's most recent speech, and he bumbled through it. They edited out the bad, put up the parts where he's somewhat coherent, but then they show the clip, and it comes back to him, and he goes, "Here's what he's trying to say," and then he speaks for him.
Right. Yeah.
And they did that with President Trump. They're like, because Trump could have come on and said, hey, today it was mostly sunny, and he would have turned it. Well, he's trying to say it was mostly sunny for white people. And like, no, he wasn't trying to say that.
Yeah. Big ass hurricane. Okay.
Exactly.
He would repackage it.
Oh no.
And so when people are getting their first generation information from somebody who's actually right in front of your own eyes repackaging what was just said into his own narrative, what he was trying to say is this and this and this.
No, what he said was what he said. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And so I think when people are getting that and they're like, well, it kind of makes sense, but that's probably what he meant, that's,
Like Ted Cruz. He meant what he said.
What he said about January
Yep.
6th?
I meant what he said. He tried to backpedal. So, it doesn't matter. I want to make sure you see a pretty face.
Oh, that's okay.
Right? So, he meant what he said.
Right.
He's a very calculated man. He has a photogenic memory. He is a longtime attorney.
Oh,
and
he's
a
one of the
judge
most
and all this.
brilliant men.
A
So he
candidate for the
knows.
Supreme Court.
Yeah,
He's the
he
brightest
knew.
among
So
us.
he knows what he
Yeah.
said, and then you saw
He
him on
backtracked.
Tucker. He
Oh,
tried.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
and
this.
Tucker didn't let him off.
Oh no, he didn't.
I was really proud of him.
Oh my God, Tucker has some huevos.
Yeah,
It was
he
a
was
strong
not
it was a strong
letting-
moment.
I just kept yelling, liar, liar, at the
Yeah.
screen. I'm like, no, you're not getting out of this one, dude. You're not getting out of it. I don't care what you're
There
getting.
has to be
Check
accountability.
The box is checked. Ted
Yep.
Cruz, bad dude.
Yep.
Bad dude. Bad news bears.
What do you
I
think
don't
would have been
know
an
if-
incentive for doing that?
I don't know if they think
That's
that
what he
people
really
are
feels.
actually watching or knowing or aware or what. Because I think at one point it could have all passed and nobody would have even said anything. But what they've underestimated is the national American, just this grit that we have. It's like, okay,
still there.
You push us, you push us, you push us. Now you've pushed us down. We're not just getting up. We're coming up swinging. The American people are not taking these lies
they've
any
had it.
longer.
They've had it.
They are done. They are done. And this whole, almost a righteous rebellion
Yeah.
is coming within them. It's like, you're not going to push me anymore. You're not going to do this to my kids. The sex education in my school, the CRT, these masking my children. We're not allowing it any longer. It's not happening. And I'm so proud of the American people because they're not just waking up. They're now speaking up and showing up.
Yeah, which is what isn't that your tagline?
It
That's
is.
the motto.
It is.
Speaking up, what a good segue that was.
Yeah, I mean it's
It's
true
smooth.
though. It's so important because okay, people are awake, but if they're not doing anything, then it makes no difference whatsoever. You have to be willing to say, this is not right. I'm not taking this any longer. You're not doing that to my children.
Yeah.
You're not going to make me take a vaccine. All of these things that are happening in our country, they're fast forwarding right now, trying to get through this. It's not happening. They're not going to destroy our country.
No, well, they're trying. They're trying.
They
very hard.
are.
I said this is the most successful administration in the history of America at destroying our country.
They've tried
you
to
gotta
fast
look
forward
at
it. Yeah.
It's all like, they love the word salad. They love to play the game. They love to they love to manipulate words, change definitions. Everything's trans.
Yes.
You're gonna trans this way.
Oh, yeah.
You got trans over here.
Yep.
So that we could do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it's like like when they say, well, the vaccines aren't working. I said, well, yes, they are. If you listen to Karen Kingston, which we had her on episode 278, you guys did a great job when she was in Dallas
Yeah,
and did her interview.
she's amazing.
If you listen to what she says, they're doing exactly what they're designed to do. It's in the patent. People, next
Right,
slide.
yeah.
So it's right there. It's right there. That's good, huh? So
That
it's
was
right
good.
there. It's right
Yes.
there. She goes, it gets worse. Next slide.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's all right there. We just choose, it's not working. No, they are working.
They
So we
are.
have to reposition our reality
Yeah.
to actually just listen to what they're saying,
Yeah.
what they're telling you, what's going on, and take it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Right? Like Afghanistan. Oh, they made a huge error. No, that was the
It
plan.
was on purpose.
So when you realize
It was the
all these
smoothest
things
way
are-
to supply
It was-
airplanes and
it was-
weapons to the Chinese.
Exactly. Just hand it to them and then make it look like, oh, we screwed up. No, you kidding me?
No.
You didn't screw up $85 billion of
No.
stuff, and there's strategies. You've been there for 20 years. You have the best of the best. Oh, pulled out.
I think what happens is like the story, like the scorpion and the frog. They're on the side of the
Yeah,
river, and
that poor frog.
yeah, the scorpion's right. Hey, give me right across. He's like, no way, you'll
Like the
sting me. No way, you'll
football
sting me.
Lucy, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the frog cannot fathom, even as he's drowning, that the scorpion was going to sting him, because he's like, why would you do this? Because I'm a scorpion. That's what I
my
do. I
chance.
cannot not do this. And it's hard to believe that on a plane where there's only one pilot, that there's a percentage of people on the deal that want to take down the pilot.
That they are okay to die.
That they're okay with that. They're like, we want to destroy this thing. And it's hard to wrap your mind around that there's an
That's the world
intentional
we
plan
live
to bring that down and squash it, to make it the only thing standing in the way of one world order.
And I think it is painful. I know it was for me, and I think it is for a lot of Americans, to realize people that you had trusted, whether it be the government, whether it be doctors, all these different things that they are out to either destroy the country or kill us.
Right.
And it's painful when you hear the people that you trusted to take care of you do not have your best interest at heart. It's really painful. It's very eye-opening. There were times in this process, the Lord told me a while back, he said, the darkness, the corruption is much worse than we can even comprehend, because we hear a lot of darkness and corruption, and so we're thinking, okay, we already know it. He goes, it's actually much deeper than you can comprehend. But he said, my glory is much greater than you can even imagine. And so for me, it was like, okay.
Wait, you said that? That's what you got?
Yeah, I heard him say that.
This is your quiet time. This is really clear.
My quiet time. And so it really hit me. When you have darkness and you turn on a light, the darkness has to flee. There is no fight between the lightness and the darkness. The darkness goes away. It just disappears. And so I just realized his glory is so great. It's going to overcome this darkness, but his glory is within us. When you're a Christian, when you're a follower of Jesus, you have him within you. So when you walk into a room, you bring light. And I think as people are stepping up into these positions, as people are going for school boards, city councils, and they're stepping into positions we've probably never even heard of, that have gone uncontested for years, as they're stepping into this position, they are bringing the light into that, and the darkness is fleeing. Yeah. And so God always partners with man. If you look at history in the Bible, it's always God partnering with Moses, God partnering with David, God partnering with Abraham. So anytime that you see that, when that partnership happens, this glory comes and the darkness is going to flee. So it may look hopeless. If you're sitting at home today thinking this is hopeless and you're like I'm just going to hide behind the water heater until this thing passes, it is not hopeless, because anytime that there is a seed of hopelessness, it's always rooted in a lie, always, because there's always hope in every situation. But we have to step up, because what the fear is trying to do is have us bury our head in our pillow or under the blanket thinking, I hope this disappears. We're so full of fear. We can't do that. We have to stand up.
Yep.
We have to come back swinging and be like, no, that's not going to happen, and realize when we all come together and we link arms, great things are going to happen.
And you made a great point. You were saying how God partners with like human beings, right?
Always.
So, but if you're not showing up, and you're sitting at home in your poopy diapers,
Yep.
complaining that you got a rash,
Exactly.
well then, you know what? You don't get the right to complain.
No.
Nobody that she
Because
referenced
you're
did
not
God use them on their
doing
couch.
enough. You
Never.
have to start showing up.
You have
This is your time. For everybody that's listening, for everybody literally that is not doing anything, and the ones that are doing something, step it into gear.
Step it in.
You need to go up to the next level, because there's too much at risk. Even if you just want to put your blinders on and say, all I care about is my business. Well, guess what? A lot of the stuff is hurting your business. So if you just want to focus on business, you don't want to hear anything about a school board or a CRT, or you don't have kids, or you
don't
should still be
care.
pissed. You should be pissed off that your tax dollars are going.
That's
like
right.
here in Maricopa County, this state is a disaster when it comes to education.
Yep.
Right? And they've been pushing that whole curriculum called C3, which is much worse than CRT. CRT is just one subject.
Oh, yeah.
C3 is the fundamentals of the entire educational system. The public instruction, the Department of Public Instruction. I said, what happened to educating, not instructing?
Right.
Our name tells you we're going to instruct you.
Yeah.
We're not going to educate you. We're going to instruct you. Okay, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
And nobody seems to have an issue with it.
Right.
I said, okay, well, if I was a parent, there'd be a big problem.
Oh.
Right? So I said, the state's actually lucky I don't have kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's probably the best thing that could have happened there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Michelle never had any babies.
But if you think it doesn't affect you, it
does.
does affect you.
It affects everything.
Because these kids are going to grow up. And
they're
who's
gonna
going to be in
little
leadership
demons.
roles?
They're
Who's
gonna
going to be in
they're
leadership?
They're going to be little brainwashed demon,
Yeah.
Democrat, whatever.
Yeah, and when you're older...
Condition, wearing a mask, all happy with their mask.
Oh, yeah. They're going to control your lives someday if you don't do something about it
Yeah,
today.
it might be your boss.
It might
could
be.
you imagine?
Yeah, or your president, or your mayor, or, your governor.
I don't know
Your
if
neighbor.
we can get that far.
But either way,
we
because
get to 2022 election.
but everything you just said would still have been true if November 3rd, 2020 would have been different.
Yeah. If
We
Trump would be
still
in there.
needed these things fixed.
We
Oh,
had
they have
to.
to go. Because they've been deep rooted for decades.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
been brainwashed. We've been
And
conditioned.
that's-
We've been lied to.
That's
And
the
we
shift
didn't
that's
pay
happening,
attention.
though.
I didn't.
No.
I didn't step up into becoming a precinct committee man until February of last year. So I didn't know it was a thing.
Right.
I'm watching the war room, and I'm like, precinct committee man? What is this?
Yeah, what
Who's
the heck?
Dan Schultz? He lives here? I don't know any of this. How could I not know? I live here.
Yeah.
I've lived in the same house 17 years. I know nothing.
That's so funny.
So then I was like, I was like, well, what do I do?
Right.
Next week later, I'm in. Next day, I'll just show up at a meeting.
That's
It's-
awesome.
it's like a
That's what I'm
horror.
like, but they purposely don't want you to know about these things because they don't want change. And this is nothing to do with left or right.
Right, no.
It is a uniparty cluster,
Yeah.
a cluster F of a uniparty who hates we the people.
Yep.
So they don't want us getting in there fishing around,
Yep.
sniffing around, go, I smell rhinos.
smell
How do I get you guys out? They're like,
Yeah.
no, we don't want you to know about these meetings we have. The public meetings. We don't want you to know about
Right,
those.
right.
What?
Yep.
I mean, I can vote your asses out?
Yeah.
Had no idea. Bye-bye,
You're ex-
rhinos.
We're at
You're
yep.
exactly right.
That's so
Who
true.
knew? Didn't know.
And that's what's
48 and I didn't know.
that's what's
Are you
changing.
kidding me? I thought I kind of knew some stuff. That just gives you an idea of how much they are against everything that we need to be doing.
Yes.
So they're quashing that information.
Yes.
So thank God there's shows like yours and other people in this room that are getting that information out.
So important.
But then building a community at the same point, right? Because you just don't want to give them the information and let them run away.
Right.
We gotta herd the cats.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Put them in a pill case. Get them all to be friends together. Everybody just needs to take nice naps on each other. Right? I mean, everybody hold hands, hold paws.
Yes.
That's what we gotta do. So talk about the show. Plug some stuff or whatever else you guys, whatever pedal, whatever wares, whatever you got.
Well, we have a show called Flyover Conservatives at flyoverconservatives.com, and the goal is our whole gist from the beginning was creating a platform. We can have long-form conversations where people that you would see for 2 minutes on Tucker or something else, or somewhere else, like actually present their case.
Yeah.
And the things, it's interesting. We're in a moment where like a Dr. Robert Malone can get deleted from Twitter.
Yeah.
You got like Dr. Peter McCullough. It's the most,
Oh, they hate him.
the most,
Yep.
published
Million
doctor
dollars
in his field. And it would upset me. I would talk to nieces or nephews, and they'd say, "Well, everybody that I hear only says this." Well, because you can't hear these other people. And so
They've
one
been censored.
one whole side of the world has been squished. Our goal is to just raise that up, to create a platform where we're on 40 different platforms. We try to put this information everywhere so that people cannot walk through this world and not run into the truth somewhere.
Yes.
That there's no excuse for ignorance, that good ideas are easy to find, smart people are easy to find, and the solutions are easy to find. So again, it's not just entertainment or it's not just good information. Everything has a component of wake up, speak up, show up. What do you want to do? We felt like, and we were the same as everybody else, we wanted Donald Trump to do 80 million things to save America. And we found we need 80 million Americans to do one thing each day to save their own country. That's the answer. And follow his example. He put his business aside and went all in. We all need to go all in our neighborhood, in our town.
Live fearlessly.
Yeah, and move forward on it. And once Americans can kind of get over the idea of it doesn't matter what other people think of you, that they
Yes.
can call you
Who
a
cares?
name, you got your
Yeah, who
identity
cares?
figured out that it's
They
not
don't like you. Ooh.
that you can
yeah.
begin.
There's probably 80 million people who do. They just don't know you yet.
Yeah.
That you can begin
Exactly.
taking these conversations of religion back into the workplace. You can take a conversation of politics back into Thanksgiving dinner. That you can have these things and you can have them civil. That you can have a decent conversation. That disagreement with your idea doesn't mean I have to disagree with you existing. And that
You
we
don't
can.
have to hate people.
And that, you know what, we
I know some of them,
we have a
you just don't
right
like
to
them
not
anymore.
be.
Their personalities suck.
Yeah.
We got a right to not be wiped away from the face of history as well. And so,
Yeah.
so creating those conversations, encouraging people to walk in informed, have better conversations at the water cooler, and win, and win with wisdom and flair and fun, and because we have better ideas.
Oh, and we have facts
freedom,
on our
freedom,
side.
We do.
freedom is a
Not
better
just
idea
emotion.
than.
No, we just don't,
Yeah.
make up words.
Yeah.
Freedom is a better idea than an authoritarian regime. And our country is getting to go into a mode where we went through so much separation where people with hats don't like people with hats, or people with red shirts don't like people that are blonde, or all this stuff. Everything that you can imagine, we've been separated on.
Division.
All this division. And
That's by design too. That's
It's-
part of,
it's 100%.
Pick an art of war. Pick of a.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
all the different strategies.
Which
so
is better
many
for
of them.
me? Would I have better odds of fighting the two of you, or to get you to fight each other than sit back and do whatever I want?
Oh,
Oh, we
exactly.
could do a cat fight right now.
Yeah, you know,
I
it's like,
think the ratings might go.
Yeah, let me go off my earrings.
Exactly.
It's just like,
yeah, take your earrings off, you're done. Turn your hat
You
backwards.
just want us to roll on the ground again. That's what it is.
If your hat goes on
All
backwards.
right, I get it.
But we're about to move into a moment, and you're seeing it already. When you see a Joe Rogan bring on a Dr. Malone. Because
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's not your traditional conservative, pro-life
God,
guy.
no.
You know, I mean, but he's like, hey, so it's becoming a little more recognizable, like if we had aliens invade our country, you know, from like another planet, all these differences would kind of go away, because it'd be like, hey, we're about to get deleted from the world. We're
What are we gonna
We're
do?
going to unite.
Right.
And so it's going to be two camps. It's going to be ones that are okay with an authoritarian regime and ones that are not okay with an authoritarian regime ruling over them. And these may look kind of funny. They may not be red and
Those
blue.
are wearing masks,
Yeah.
and these are not. So they've
Yeah.
actually kind of conditioned us already to find out who is
Who's
the
who.
weak links and who's going to give them a little bit of pushback.
Absolutely, and it might be different people in your foxhole than what you thought.
Yeah,
There
oh,
might be
yeah.
some people like, I wouldn't have thought you would be on my team, but you know what? Here we are.
And you turn around, you're like, well,
And
all
like-
right, dude, welcome.
And I'm
Nice
so
to see you. It's about time.
and I'm so sad to see my pastor in this other hole.
Yeah, that's
you know,
the thing. I
and
think
people that
that's well, like,
I
to
didn't
your
see that
point.
coming.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just want to talk about your point when you're saying people are they've trusted certain people
They have,
and they're
yep.
being disappointed, so it's
Yep.
the betrayal. So if you want to take it from kind of that direction, where that's what your people have got to be prepared for.
there'll be this shock of
No,
like,
not only
It'll
the
be a
mass
shock.
deaths, right? We
Yeah.
already know, but this is
There will-
like
there will
Adams,
be-
mass deaths,
Yeah.
which we're seeing now, but it's the disappointment.
Yes.
And I say it as a betrayal.
the moment
right?
Braveheart,
Because
you know,
put
when
so much into these
Yep.
people.
when Robert the Bruce, you know, like knocks William Wallace off his horse, you know, and his mask falls off, and he realizes, like, man, you were supposed to be on my team. You sold us out. Like, there will be those moments. And that's where this cannot be personality based. It's got to be principle based. And so when you look, okay, I like this guy. I might think Ted Cruz is a great neighbor. But when he's signing up with the wrong team, I've got to be very clear that, okay, he might not be in my foxhole.
Boy, he's way not.
And so we got to clarify those things, and it's going to be more complicated than red and blue, or Christian, not Christian, and gay and straight, and some of these things. It might just be who is not okay with this coup and the occupation that's taking place in this country right now, and who is and who isn't. And we're going to need to fight together to make that back. We need free speech. You know, we need, not burning our Constitution. We need to defend it. And so there might be some people defending it that might surprise you. You might not have aligned with on some areas.
Yep.
And so you need to boil down what is the most important thing to you to define being an American and your ability to move forward here.
And I think the only way that you can get yourself out of this feeling of betrayal is being very careful to not put a human in the place where God is supposed to be.
Yep.
There you go. False
Because
authorities and
yeah,
things
because
like
when
that.
we look
Oliver.
at somebody as, oh, this person, they're everything, they're always going to disappoint. People always disappoint.
Oh,
And so
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you can't help it because we're not
Family,
perfect.
friends, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So
Husband,
it's
I'm sure you did take the garbage out before you
sure,
left. It was
yeah. It was like,
disappointing.
that's just going to happen in life. Yeah. So it's like keeping God on the throne and realizing people are going to disappoint and never putting them in a God position. When you do that, you're going to set yourself up better.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people make their pastor their God. They're like, well, they're the authoritarian in my life. I have to really listen to that. Or their doctor. I mean, you look at the
that's
older
really bad.
generation.
Yeah. They love
Especially
their
older
doctors.
generation. Well, my doctor said this. They told me to take this. Well, what's in it? I don't know. My doctor said I'm supposed to take it. And I think never putting those people in that position and always looking at things that they're saying, okay, I'm going to gather this information, but I'm also going to research it. I'm not just going to take it for. That's how we're going to get rid of rhinos.
Yeah.
You can't just because somebody looks good and they have this.
Man, he's so dynamic. I'm gonna vote for this guy.
And they said the right
Probably your
things.
first warning sign.
Well,
Yeah, it's like
Ted
what-
Bundy was probably dynamic. Who cares?
Yeah, they say he was
Probably
really
would.
handsome. So it's like really knowing, hey, I'm gonna listen to what they said, but I'm also gonna do my own research. I'm gonna study it and find out what's the best for me, and are they telling the truth? And that's
Yeah.
where it comes down to. We have to take personal responsibility.
Yeah.
I gotta own my faith, own my health care, own my products,
We
own my
have
education
to.
for my kids.
We
Like
have
we did
to.
for probably most of our lives. We
No.
let somebody else do that. Or
Yeah.
that's what we were told
Got
by
lazy.
our parents, and then it got trickled down.
Yep.
And then we took our eye off the ball.
And
And
the-
now
and-
we're cleaning up messes.
We
Yep.
are.
And those trusts were betrayed, and we kind of got to clean it up.
And we can't take pride in being this, conservative, the silent majority. There cannot be pride in that. That is not good. Because when our voices were silent in these 7 spheres of influence, whether it be education or media or government or family or entertainment, religion, when we took ourselves out of these areas and
They
we
got
no
taken
longer
over.
let our voices be heard, then they were taken over, and that's why today we're calling good evil and good evil good, because the plumb line of Jesus and the plumb line of just
truth,
good morals and truth has been taken away. We cannot be silent. You cannot sit back and think, oh, I'm just going to be the silent majority. That's not acceptable.
No.
You be the noisy truth teller.
That's like being silent to somebody that you know is being abusive to a child or something and being like, oh, I'm just not going to say anything. You can't take pride in that. Now you're part of the problem.
Yeah, there's a different level of personal responsibility that is now on the playing field.
Yep.
And it's, again, if you don't step up to the plate in some capacity, if you've done nothing, you need to step up in some capacity.
You have to.
And otherwise, you cannot complain anymore.
Yep.
And all the things that are going on are because they are things that we can somewhat, well, I can say somewhat fix, okay? Somewhat.
Yeah.
Some of the things that, we don't have the power, but we can get there.
We
right?
can.
We can get there.
Yep.
But and the thing is everybody that's in this room needs to step it up a notch.
We all
and
have
that's
to.
what I said at the beginning of the year. I said, I'm not doing enough. I need to do more. And I'm going to call out everybody that comes on my show that they need to step up and do more.
We do.
Because we all do. We have access to information. We have access to more sharing and content and information to spread it out there. So we all need to take that extra step.
And every person that's listening has to
take
step it up.
Everyone has to step one. You have to take one more foot
Yep.
deeper into this battlefield.
You do if you
because
want to have a country.
Otherwise, you're going to have nothing.
You're not going to have anything.
You're gonna have nothing.
If you're a parent or a grandparent, your children or your grandchildren are not going to have a country, that you had and that they deserve. We have to leave everything better than we found it. And if you
Right now,
are
it's
being
on fire.
silent, it's on fire. And everybody has to grab a bucket of water and be a part of the solution.
Yeah.
Everybody does. If you're a Bible reader, go to Matthew 25. This is all about the talents. If you're burying your talent, there's judgment for that. It is time to use your talents. You have to. You have to use your talents. You've been given something. You're all a part of a puzzle that's being put together. If you've ever put a puzzle together and you're missing a piece, it's so irritating. It's like, this is not complete.
You look under the couch, under the
Everywhere.
Oh, did the dog eat
Where
it?
did the dog?
Yeah, exactly.
You go to the yard and dig.
You go to the bed.
Yeah, is that you
like,
dig through his
There's
poop?
a puzzle. You're like going through it. Yeah.
There's no
piece of the
unimportant
puzzle.
piece. I don't care if it's the sky.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't
You need them all.
It
And,
doesn't
and it's the same with saving our country right now. Everybody needs to be
Yep.
engaged. If there's 400 people listening to us right now, they all have influence over 10. Well, there's 4,000 people.
Exactly.
That everything
Compound
has to
interest.
scale.
That's what
Everything
it's
has
all
to
about.
scale because
Everything.
nothing can be taken and then that's it. Nobody can be the end of the road. Every idea, you share the idea.
Yep.
Every idea. You learn about an event, you tell somebody about the event.
Yep.
You've got to use the tools and scale things up because that's what's being used against us.
And they're great at it.
Yeah,
And they
unbelievable.
They got big budgets and they get paid to do that.
Yep.
And then they have people that are being paid. Then you got layer after layer of
Yep.
bodies and groups and NGOs and nonprofits and political action
Yes.
committees. I mean, you're talking trillions of dollars, but they've been doing it for
Yeah.
decades,
For decades.
right?
Yep.
And then we show up, with our microphone and our camera, and we're like,
Yep.
hey, freedom,
Yeah.
hey, vote for the freedom people.
Yep.
And then you're like, you're up against somebody who's got a network of $5 billion.
Yep.
But it had to start somewhere.
Yeah, and you can never underestimate the underdogs.
No.
Never
So
underestimate
you want to
them.
give a scripture number and something? I'm sure
It's
you
full
got,
of them.
You got one in your bag of tricks somewhere, right?
Well, I think it's important to
'Cause
understand.
you're the one who
though.
does all that. I can see the rules already going into it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's important to understand though that yes, they've been organized. Yes, they've come together, but we do have the creator of the universe on our side, and they don't. So when we do step up, when we do link arms, it's not just us coming against the opponent. We have the creator of
Yeah.
all, who when he looks up, nothing's above him.
Well,
Right. So thank God we have thank God.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
God we have thank God.
Yes.
Thank God we have God.
they have the $1 trillion
Otherwise,
budget.
we'd be really
We
screwed.
are in
It'd be
trouble
a party
without
of
him.
you.
They have the $1 trillion budget. Every airport's playing CNN. I mean, they can
Oh, yeah.
censor everybody off of every tech platform, but they're still selling crappy ideas.
Yes.
And
That's,
so-
that's,
and
that's,
so-
that's the other good thing.
and so- like-
their stuff's stupid.
It is.
And they're stupid people.
They're
Very stupid people.
their task is very hard because they're selling like moldy cheeseburgers
They're
from
selling poop.
the
They
dumpster.
are.
That's on fire.
Because nobody
Yep.
given a choice between something fresh and something rotten is
Yeah.
going to choose the rotten.
Yeah.
Okay, and so they have to have all of that to sell the rotten food, and that's the difference. Truth wins, but
always
it's
And they like
but,
to cheat.
but we got to
They're a bunch
scale
of
it up.
cheaters.
They are. They are. But they're being discovered.
Slowly but surely.
They are. They are, and
It takes time.
It does. It does.
Because it's kind of big.
Yep.
You know, like our audit here.
Yep.
Our audit in Corruption County.
Yep.
And we're getting ready to go to Wisconsin. I mean, we're going to be in Wisconsin in 2 weeks and dealing with election fraud there. And I think that
But they're making headway.
they're
up
making
there.
great
That's
headway.
They
different.
are.
People that
So
say,
you
well,
guys laid a
the low-
foundation.
But that's the low-hanging fruit state because they've got
Yep.
those 200,000 voters
Yeah.
that are already really should just be removed and they can overturn
Yep.
and
Yep.
decertify right then and there.
It might be the
That's
first
That's
one.
black and white. Like,
Yeah.
It might
you're
end
like,
up being Wisconsin first, and then
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, then circle back around. And I think with one domino falls, there will
circle
be.
back and Saki, circle back.
No, like a legit, like I'm thinking like actually come back literally around the country back here to Arizona, you know,
Yeah, I
and
think
We might end up being last.
Yeah.
but I tell
You
you,
laid a foundation.
and you kept the fire burning,
kept it
and-
burning.
I just wish
while
it
these
was
other things
faster.
were happening.
Well, there's a lot I can
Yeah.
bring to the table about that.
And we all do, but here's the deal: the truth is coming forward, and if this would not have happened, and man, I hate it. Man, I wish I could just like wave a wand and everything just would have been great. But if we would have even just had all the leadership in our last vote that we wanted in November 3rd, we would not.
Be here.
We would have lost this country forever.
Yeah.
If Trump would have been inaugurated on January the 20th of 21, we would have lost this country forever and ever
Yeah, 'cause
and
we
ever.
would have been on autopilot for another 4 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Trump's going to take care of it. The business is booming.
Yep.
Economy's
Absolutely.
great. We wouldn't even have thought about school boards.
Nope.
We wouldn't have looked at nefarious characters. I wouldn't even know what a precinct committee man was
Right.
still. So
Yeah.
can you imagine
That's
all
true.
the stuff that we didn't know?
Yeah.
Because we literally
Never did.
had to get to the point where you're like, you've got to be kidding me. What is going on?
Yep.
Yep.
You have this people, to be blunt, you can't get mad and you can't get upset. That's not enough. People
Right.
literally have to get pissed.
They do.
You have
Yes.
to get done, you go, that's it.
That's enough.
You go, that's it, I've had enough.
Yep.
And that's when things change.
That's what gets people off the couch.
Otherwise, it's, the other stuff's not enough.
Yep.
You can't,
They-
I'm mad, and that's not enough.
No, they got to get off the couch, and especially people. I'm sure there are people all over listening to you. In these red states, like we live in Missouri. Missouri's about as red as you get. We got Republican governor. We got Josh Hawley. We got all from top to bottom, all what I call like the sexy positions. The
Right.
big famous ones that get
We do too. Look at us.
They get it on the quotes on Fox.
We're a
You
mess.
get that, but. What they do is they'll give you those, and then like I live in Jackson County. It's a suburb of Kansas City. There's 95 positions in my county alone that are coming up for re-election that are predominantly all owned by Marxists. Because they'll give you, hey, we'll give you the senator, we'll give you this. You know what? We're going to run the water board, the city council,
Which is where the
this
meat and potatoes are.
everything that
I had
happens
no idea. I used
in
to
your
throw those
school
in the
board.
garbage, those ballots.
All of these positions, we're going to take them over with Marxists, and we're going to it's like having a jar, like full of rocks. We'll put like 5 rocks in there, but you put a lot more water and sand in there than just those 5 rocks. And we're
They're
going
the water and the sand.
we're going to fill in everything around those things. You're like, hey, I live in a red state. Yeah, you know what? And it's run by Marxists behind the scenes. Every 2x4 in the entire house is full of termites.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
just
what's got to be
waiting
done.
for it.
Yep.
And people sit there looking like, well, this isn't about Trump Biden. If you lived in Michigan, you can't buy grass seed during lockdown. You're like,
Oh, God,
if this is
yeah.
a Trump Biden thing. No, it's because you have a sucky governor. It's about Whitmer. So it's like our state rights make a big difference.
Yep.
Your governor makes a huge deal. Your
Yeah,
mayor
we
makes a
didn't
big
know
deal.
this. We didn't know until this.
If you lived in
Yeah.
Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they forced the police to stand down and watch your business burn to the ground
Yeah.
during summer of 2020, and then you want to rebuild it, and they force you to come in and pay the next year's taxes in full so that you can get a permit for a dump truck to come and clean up the debris to build your business back up so you can be where you were before the police ordered to stand down and watch it burn. Okay, that's
You're like, what-
that's
what
because of
are
your
you living on?
Yes,
that's
I
your
know.
city council. They voted for that. Okay, that's
They
not
wanted to fund the police,
that's
too,
not a
right?
that's not a Trump Biden thing.
Right.
That's you need to get off your couch.
Yeah, that's
Okay, you need to
local.
get up and go to your city council and get those. I mean, they're Muslims there. The whole city council is run by people that are designed and
Minneapolis,
placed
really bad.
Minneapolis
Yes.
to do
They play that.
and the Somalis and these people put in a position
Yeah.
to
They brought
destroy
them in
the
there,
town
Yep. Yep.
because they want to be good people and we're doing a good thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
no, that-
And then we're going to bring
Obama?
in yes, we're going to bring in 200,000.
Yeah.
You know,
We'll talk about that's a whole nother
Yeah,
show,
I know,
kids.
it is.
We'll
And-
cover some of that nitty gritty stuff later.
and
Yes.
they've got to go in and fix that. Okay,
Yep.
that's what made people's lives bad. You want to go down and over 1,000 businesses burned in 1 month in Minneapolis.
Crazy.
1,000 businesses. I mean, even just to say 1,000 businesses just stopped, but they burned.
destroys the
burned,
whole
they were
city.
destroyed.
That's the owner. That's their employees.
On fire.
Yep.
It's their
Like,
kids.
we
It's
hate
everywhere
you.
they would have spent. It's every
Yep.
place that business was spending money. It's their vendors.
Yeah.
It's when they get paid, they're going to go buy a sofa from this guy. It's like the trickle effect of that in an economy is terrible. And so, but it's allowed. That
Yeah,
is what
we
makes the
allow-
difference. And it's not a Trump-Biden problem. It's your city council
That's right.
on that issue. It's the school board. It's the things that are the quickest to fix and have the biggest impact and the most ignored, and we let them have all those freebies. Most of them run uncontested. Some of these guys win with like 300 votes in important positions.
Yeah, and then the ones
We-
they found in the trunk of the car.
Right.
we can take that
Yes.
back quickly.
We can definitely take it back.
This can be taken back
That's
quickly.
why people cannot sit out from these midterms and be like, I'm not even going to do it.
Yeah,
Because
you
when
have to.
you
You
have to. And we've talked to people like Christina Bobb with OAN,
Yeah.
you know, who's right in the center, and she's reporting on what's going on across the country.
And she had an apartment here for a while. You know, it was like
Yeah.
every day.
Camped out. Like,
Yeah.
I was there, like,
At the arena.
Oh, she must be tired.
Yeah, but she's talking about when people are showing up and that they are trying to cheat, it's getting caught because people
Exactly.
are there.
That's what I encourage people.
Yeah,
you
you've
have
gotta
to go
show up.
because they are tracking it. So
Yes.
whether they don't see it now, it might be something that comes out in a
Yep.
Dr. Frank report in
Yep.
6 months.
Yep.
But at least they can see the patterns. So you
Yes.
still have to show up.
Yeah, you can't have these
Even
ultimatums.
though everybody might lose this go around, you still got to do that.
You have
until
to.
we-
I don't want to hear from
Yeah.
anybody, well, if they don't fix 2020, nothing else matters. No, freaking everything else matters.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't have these ultimatums. It's like telling your son that, oh, if you date this girl, you're done.
Yeah.
Like these ultimatums, like, why would you make an ultimatum with your own government that if 2020 is not fixed? It's like, what if this is not fixed for 30 years? I mean,
Yeah.
I want it to be fixed. I want a lot of things. I would like a bag of money to fall out of the sky and land in my car.
That'd
Me
be
too.
awesome.
You know, they're like, and you know what? And I'm believing
What a
it.
great idea.
I'm
Yeah, I
believing
know.
it will.
I like
I'm
him.
I'm praying that it will.
He's a keeper.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I got to hope it will and move forward as if it won't. You know,
Right, you gotta do both.
I got to
Yep.
pray like everything depends on God, and I got to move my feet like everything depends on me.
Yes.
And I've
Yeah.
got to move into this next election cycle, and we need to fill in all of the low-hanging fruit that we just give the left. We give it to them freely, and they come in and they.
A lot of the
Even silver
positions are
platters.
unopposed. There are a lot of positions that are unopposed where you could oppose it. At least
Yeah,
step
we
Yes.
in.
most likely can win.
Yes.
Okay?
And every one of you guys out there watching, you got to know.
You get it by 200 votes.
Any mystique you have of like, well, I don't know enough to run for office. Look at any of them; they're all
They don't know-
stupid.
They don't know anything.
They're
either.
idiots.
They know nothing.
They're idiots.
Nothing.
Our world is run
You're
by
ruining my
morons
life. They
that
know
are
nothing.
stupid.
It's true.
They couldn't. I wouldn't hire most of them to run a tanning salon.
No, I don't want them near
Like
my garbage
anything.
can. I don't want them
Nothing.
near my. Don't take
And
out
so,
my garbage,
like,
please. You'll screw it up.
If you're competent enough to have found your way onto this show today, you can run for office and be
Yes, you can
successful.
do it.
If you even care, if you just have the skill of caring a little,
Yes.
you have what it takes.
Yay.
Yeah. And people will rally behind you because
They will.
they want regular people that are going to go and represent them
Yeah.
on the city council, on the school board, on all these positions.
Yeah.
We'll take the guy from New Jersey.
Yeah.
He had
Door.
$187, and he beat the guy who's the president of the Senate.
Unbelievable.
$187. So it doesn't. Like
doesn't
I'm
matter.
from New Jersey, right?
Man.
And our motto for the lottery used to be, "All you need is $1 and a dream." Right? That was the
Yeah.
motto. Look back in the '80s, right?
Yep.
So I say
So
that.
the dollars went a lot further.
Oh, sure did.
Yeah.
Now, in order to win an election, all you need is $187. You can win an election.
There you go.
It's the new modern day. All you need
But
is
you
$1 and a
gotta you
dream.
gotta show up.
You
You
gotta
gotta
show
get off the
up.
couch.
Yeah.
Wake up, speak up, show up. So flyoverconservatives.com. That is what it's all about. We're on every platform. We're easy to find. Search it out. No matter whatever your thing is, we're there.
so glad we're
me
new
too,
friends.
Michelle. Thank
We're there doing
you.
something. Our goal is like if we're on like 40 some places like whack-a-mole, they can't get rid of us
You
everywhere.
gotta just keep popping up.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And they hit you over the head, and you're like, "Ha! I'm back!"
Guess what? What? We're over here in
Like
Rumble now.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Showtime. I'm
It's a-
ready.
That's our motto right there.
Yep.
So
yep.
thank you for having us on here and getting to share this with
Thank you.
your crew.
And we're live. We're live.
Love it.
Live.
Well,
We're gonna have
thank
you
so
guys
much.
on when I go on the Bright Town show. We're gonna get that scheduled.
Love it.
And then I'll have you come back on the live talk radio show, which is
Perfect.
Mondays at 12 p.m.
Be an honor.
Great.
So, all right. Oh my God, this
Good
is so much
honor.
fun.
Yay.
All right, I'll give you guys a hug. Goodbye.
That sounds good.
And we're still live. We're just keep rolling. We're gonna keep rolling.
All right.
It's like Proud Mary. Rolling, rolling. All
That's
right, so
so
here's my
good.
card. So then that has my cell phone and my email. So then when you guys get